What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Revival. My name is JJ, and it's time for part 2 of my 2021 Backlog Blitz. Alright, so these are the other 10 games that I played this year. Let's just get into it. Alright, so first up is Tales of the Abyss on 3DS. I know this was also on PS2. Not a fan. I know this is not a popular opinion at all, because I know this is a really well-liked game in the series. I thought it was way too long. Just way too long. I wasn't crazy about the characters. I don't even remember any of their names other than Luke, the main guy, and I think at some point it's revealed that's not even his name. It just overstayed its welcome. The story had so many phrases and words, which is normal for a Tales game. I get that they have terminology that doesn't really make sense or is made up and stuff unique to that world specifically. But this one was just over the top with it, and my eyes glazed over so much to the point where I had a guide on my phone that I would pull up whenever I'd get lost. But whenever story stuff would come up, I just started going through it, just pushing the button and going through, because I just didn't care anymore. And I know that's a horrible thing to say, especially as a Tales fan, because I really like the series. But I just was not crazy about this game at all. It didn't do it for me. But I know a lot of people do like it, so the 3DS version is pretty solid. So it still played really well. I had a little bit of fun with it, but that fun did not last, unfortunately, and I kind of had to force my way through the end. If it wasn't on my list, I probably would have stopped, as I had prior in the past, when I tried it before. So, it is what it is. Tales of the Abyss. Phantasy Star 4, End of the Millennium, I'm not going to talk about here because I have a whole review up on the channel, so go check that out if you want to hear me go in depth about my thoughts on that game. But honestly, it was fantastic. The Wolf Among Us, PS4. I loved it. I didn't even it was not what I was expecting going in. I was thinking it was going to be more along the lines of there's a werewolf in town and who is it, and you're trying to solve a mystery of who's killing people and that kind of thing. You are solving a mystery, but it is not like that at all. Anybody who's played it knows what I mean. It is more like you're in a present day, but you are interacting with all of these characters from fairy tales and fables and stuff, and it's like a noir setting. It's just really, really cool and really well done. I enjoyed the hell out of it. So if you like Telltale games and you haven't tried Wolf Among Us, I definitely recommend giving it a shot, because it was a lot of fun to play, and the story was just really, really great. So definitely a recommendation for me. Prey on PS4, another one that, again, we're not going to go in depth on that one because I did a full review on the channel as well on that one. A lot of things to say on that, but overall, fantastic game. Definitely play it if you have not. I do have some criticisms, but they're minor, and again, go check out the review on the channel and you can kind of see what I'm talking about there. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Let me tell you, I would not ever in my life have been able to finish this game if it wasn't for save scumming on the Switch. It's, you know what, it was better than I was expecting, because I had always played it as a kid, and I always played it, but I never finished it. I never knew what to do, where to go. I was confused because it didn't look like the first game. There was just a lot of, it was very, very different from the first game in the series, and so I was kind of overwhelmed as a kid playing that. Now going to it and playing through it again, I was overwhelmed, but for different reasons. Not like for the size of the game and that kind of thing. It was more just because it was brutally tough. It is not an easy game to play. So I would say, you know, it's one of those where, again, if you're a big fan of history of video games stuff, it's a good one to check out. You don't need to finish it, but it's, you know, to just see kind of like where the Zelda series tried to go at one point, I think it's an interesting play. But it's very tough, just know that going in. And that includes gameplay itself and trying to figure out where to go. Just, you know, it was a little better as an adult than it was when I was a kid, and I was just completely floored as to what the heck I was supposed to do, not to mention how to do it. So I'm glad I finished it. I'm glad it's off the backlog. It's another Zelda game down. I like to try and put one of those on my list every year if I can. So yeah, Zelda 2. Soul Blazer on Super Nintendo. Man, I was not expecting to like this game as much as I did. Not that I was expecting to hate it, but like, I mean, within the first 15 minutes, I was hooked. I loved it. I love the gameplay. It's super fast paced, but not like to where you have no idea what the heck's going on. It honestly, like, it almost felt like a Super Nintendo Dark Souls kind of game. Because the running around and fighting enemies and stuff on the main, when you're just going through level to level, you kind of do have to figure out how to beat certain enemies and directions to take and moves to do. But then when you get to the bosses, it becomes really tough, and every boss has their own unique style to it that you have to kind of overcome. And it's tough, but it's not impossible again. And I really, really love the hell out of it. The Quintet games have so far just been really, really good for me. So I'm super excited to get into Terra Enigma at some point and play that. Because I've heard that's the best out of the trilogy. So I'm super, super stoked to get to that and can't wait. So we shall see. But Soul Blazer on the SNES, definitely check it out if you get the chance. Final Fantasy Legend 2. So you'll have to forgive me because quite frankly, this was another one that was at the very beginning of the year. That's the problem with doing this so late in the year, is because I forget a lot of stuff from back then. I remember playing it, obviously, but so I know that it was like, man, I just hate games with weapon degradation. I just hate it. And this is one of those. You can't repair it either in this one. You just have to buy more. Which is, you know, Final Fantasy Legend thing. It was fine. It was okay. It wasn't like a deep story or anything. The cool part about it is like just the gameplay, because you are, aside from the weapon degradation, but you're making your own party of characters, and you can choose from like robots and mutants and humans and monsters, and you mix and match and choose your party, name them all how you want it to be. And that was the funnest part for me, just because I really like doing that and kind of seeing like what kind of party that, you know, it spits out to where I can see if the style is right for me. I don't remember what I played with. I think I went with one of each, quite frankly. And I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. I couldn't tell you anything about the story, though, to be honest. I don't remember much about it. I think you're collecting orbs, and you are trying to collect enough to keep going to the next world, to the next world, to the next world. So I remember the environments were really cool to look at, and for a Game Boy game, it was pretty impressive what they accomplished with that game. So, and quite frankly, I think anybody who likes JRPGs and like the classic stuff, it's worth checking out the Final Fantasy Legend collection on the Switch that they have. And you get Final Fantasy Adventure and then Final Fantasy Legend 1, 2, and 3 on there, which, you know, it's definitely worth checking those out and seeing the roots of the Saga series. So I definitely recommend checking those out if you're into that kind of stuff. They're not great, but they are really, really like interesting to check out and see. So there you go. Trails in the Sky on PSP. I think this was the first game that I finished in 2021. I really liked it. It's long, like really long. I'm a little disappointed that the other Trails in the Sky games aren't on PSP as well. So I am gonna have to move to PC on the next one, which I'm not looking forward to because I just don't like playing like turn-based RPGs on PC. This is a personal thing because I like being on my couch or laying down or something like that. So I don't know, maybe I'll hook up my Steam box or something like that. We'll see. Or Steam Link. Either way, I really, really enjoyed the hell out of it. Story's fun. The characters are great. There's a big plot twist at the end. The sheer, like, just scope of, not even like the things that you do in the game, but knowing all the references to how big the world is and what's in it is really, really cool. And so if it was just that game in the series, I'd be a little disappointed because I'd be like, well, how come I can't see this other stuff? You know, why can't I go there? That kind of thing. But knowing that there's so many other games in the Trails series, I'm just like, I'm going to get to see all those places at some point and do all these other things. And that's so cool because it lets you know there's a lot more to come and everything. And from what I understand, this is a you know, really, really well-loved series and kind of gaining traction and has been over the past few years, even though it's been out for a while. But I'm definitely ready to move on and get to the next one because I really, really enjoyed the first one. A lot of side questy kind of things like kill tasks and gather X items and that kind of stuff. But I really didn't mind doing it just because I like the combat, I like the characters, the diversity and like the weapons that the characters use and that kind of stuff. There's even a materia type system from Final Fantasy VII. There's something like that in there too. So there's quite a bit that this game has to offer. I really enjoyed Trails in the Sky. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Man, I loved it. It was great. If I had one criticism, and this is a terrible criticism, it's like, I hesitate to even say criticism because I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's not what I've come to expect from the Uncharted games. There are some areas that are a little bit too wide open, and I got lost a lot because I couldn't figure out what the heck I was supposed to do. But at the same time, like, most of those areas were like when you're in the Jeep and driving around in that thing was really fun, so it didn't really matter at all. But that's such a minuscule gripe. The story was great. Obviously, the characters. Nathan Drake is such an awesome character. I think he's wonderful. I like how it ended. It was just a fantastic game all around. If you like the Uncharted series but haven't gotten to 4, do yourself a favor and check it out for sure because it's so good and it's not that long as is tradition with the series. But I definitely enjoyed the hell out of Uncharted 4. And last but not least, Resident Evil. So I actually played Resident Evil 0 and 1 and just recently finished up Resident Evil 2. 2 was amazing. I'm sure on the next Pixel Perspective I will talk more in depth about that. But as far as 0, I enjoyed it. It was better than people were saying. But I played the remake, so I don't know how the original was. And then Resident Evil 1, again, played the remake. I really, really liked it. I was, like, I'm not super into horror games, but just the exploration and learning the story about everything in there is just, it's so fascinating. You know, I just really, really thought the environments were really creepy and cool, and I loved exploring, and it was just a lot of fun to dig in and finally get to experience this story that has been talked about for so long by other people, where I just heard bits and pieces about, oh yeah, Umbrella, they're bad guys, and there's zombies. That's pretty much all I knew. But man, I enjoyed the hell out of it. So I definitely, man, if you haven't gotten into it, the remakes are a really, really good place to dive in, because I did, and I loved it. So there you go. There you have it, guys. There are my 20 games from 2021 that I beat. Look forward to me doing my new list for 2022. It should be coming soon. I've already got the list done, so all 20 games are decided upon, which took a while. And there is something special in there that, I mean, if it works and people go for it, I think it'll be really cool. If not, doesn't really matter the way that I've structured it. So, but I hope people do, and we'll see how it goes. But so something cool coming potentially for 2022. So look forward to that list coming soon. Other than that, yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You know the drill. And tell me if you play any games from the games that I mentioned here and what you thought. If you disagreed, agreed, whatever. I like hearing what you guys have to say. So please, by all means, just let me know. And as always, keep on gaming.